Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to compare Florabotanica to Rosabotanica by Balenciaga. So we're going to go over these two fragrances, and we're going to also talk about a dupe to Florabotanica that some of you might be interested in if you haven't been able to get your hands on this, because this is seemingly discontinued. So actually I think this one's discontinued as well, but I thought I would talk about the differences of these two. Yeah, anyway, let's get started. But before I do, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the weird and wonderful family. I would love to have you part of the community. And as well, please feel free to check out my Instagram. A lot of times I will do first impressions on Instagram, have lots of stuff going on there quite often. So feel free to, oh, it's windy out. Feel free to join me over there. I will leave the link in the description. And without further ado, let's get into this. Now, as you guys know, this fragrance is super hyped right now. Everybody has jumped on the Florabotanica train. And so I thought I would talk about it. Now, yeah, I thought I would talk about it. Now, these are all kindly lent to me by my wonderful new friend. Her Instagram is Deep Green Beauty. The aesthetic on her Instagram page is simply stunning. It's just gorgeous. So definitely go check her out if you like beautiful things that are especially green. So she's got lots of green content and then beautiful fragrances. Go check her out. Fashion, design, it's just a stunning page. But anyway, she was kind enough to lend me these, and so I wanted to talk about them to you. So the first one that I want to talk about is Florabotanica. Now this is the one that's all the rage right now because nobody can get a hold of it. And this one I just find beautiful. Now, I didn't find it beautiful off the bat. I found it really way too green. Now I absolutely love it. So the first time I tried it was last year. I've mentioned this before. I tried it on because of Demi Rawling, and then I'm like, oh, this is just way too green for me. Like, how could she like this, was basically my thoughts. But as it dried down on the skin, I found that I really enjoyed the rose that kind of developed over time. And so at first it was super green, and then you got this beautiful dewy rose. And I'm always intrigued by fragrances that kind of morph as you wear them, and this one did that. So I tried it on again. Like, I kept on going into the store, trying it on. At one point there was one on Lisa's pop-up shop for 34 bucks. It was a 30 ml, and I was so mad because I didn't pick it up and it was gone like that. And then I kept on going, oh, I don't know if I should buy it because it's so pricey. And then, as it turns out, it went on sale at Shoppers Drug Mart, and many of you were able to pick it up for $20. $20! Like, that's so amazing. The opening of this fragrance is mint, and I definitely get that hint of mint. Then it has rose, carnation, and cannabis in the mid. And then the base has vetiver and amber. Now, this one, I definitely notice that mint. I notice it green, so I don't notice it being cannabis. It definitely doesn't smell like weed to me. And then I, of course, notice that rose eventually. And then there's the vetiver kind of comes across a little bit hay-like. It reminds me of an English garden where you can smell kind of the grass. It's in the morning, so it's kind of dewy and cold, but you can smell grass, you can smell the wood, you can smell the green, like just so much green. And you walk over to this beautiful rose and it's got dewdrops all over it, and you sniff it and it just smells amazing, but you're also still smelling all this green. That's what I get from this. This one, the longevity is amazing, like 12 hours. It's just phenomenal. Now, the perfume parlor version, the longevity, like, I tested these side by side, put them on at 9 o'clock in the morning, and at 9 o'clock at night, I could still smell both of them. I could smell this one more than this one, but I could still smell them both. Now, what I like about the Perfume Parlor version is that there's more mint in this one. And surprisingly, I am just digging the mint. So I honestly like the Perfume Parlor better because I like that mint note being more prominent, and it stays prominent. This one, it's still minty, but it smells more green than minty. This one smells minty, and it smells minty the whole experience of the perfume. Now, the thing about this one is that you don't get as much rose. So this one, you definitely get the rose, you definitely get that development over the course of the wear. Whereas this one, it stays fairly linear, so you get more of that mint with a little bit of rose right off the bat, and then that mint just kind of stays, like I can always smell the mint. So personally, I like the idea of combining these if you like mint. So I love the mint, but I miss the rose in this one. This one, I love the combination, but I wish it had a little more mint in it. So I hope that makes sense. Definitely, if you're a fan of Florabotanica, but you haven't purchased it and you can't find it, or if you don't want to spring for the heavy price tag that this one is at this point, the Perfume Parlor is a really viable option in my opinion. And I couldn't believe the longevity on this one. So really, really decent. Now, Deep Green Beauty, she was telling me that this fragrance, she was wearing it, and people actually stopped her and said, "Are you wearing Florabotanica?" So it smells enough like Florabotanica that you know, nobody's going to know the difference if you've got this one on. And of course, this one works out to about 60, like with all the taxes and the exchange and everything, it works out to about 60 Canadian for a 50 ml. So not a bad price, especially considering this one's around 130. It's hard to find now. So, you know, if you're really going, oh, I wished I had it in my collection and feel like I missed out, the Perfume Parlor version is definitely worth checking out. Now, the flanker of Florabotanica was Rosabotanica. Now, first of all, I don't like this bottle as much. It's got kind of turquoise on the edges. It still has the black and white cap, but then it's got this sticker on it that I'm just not crazy about. I definitely prefer this bottle. Now, this fragrance, if you're not really into the green, you may like this one. This one has a very prominent jammy rose to it. So this one is way less green. There's a certain greenness to it, but the jammy rose definitely overpowers it, and that's what I smell mainly, is this really thick jammy rose. In fact, it's got a very similar rose smell. It smells similar to the rose in Rose Jam by Lush. Like, it's not the same, but you know, that thick, it smells like you've distilled the rose down into just a thick base and then added some sugar to it. You know, just that thick rose fragrance. So where this one is a dewy rose, this one is definitely more jammy rose. So Rosabotanica also has a ton of notes in it, so I'm going to read them. It has fig leaf, petitgrain, and hyacinth in the opening. The middle notes are rose, grapefruit, pink pepper, and cardamom. And the base is cedar, woodsy notes, vetiver, patchouli, and white amber. So this one is not, to me, this one is definitely the outstanding one. This one is kind of, to me, a bit of a masterpiece, just in the sense that it, you know, it's so green and it's so unexpected that all of a sudden this rose comes surfacing out. Whereas this one is just a bunch of notes together, and it's still pretty, but it's very, very thick, jammy, rose heavy, with all those other notes just kind of spiking out from it. So almost like the other notes feel like thorns. And so it works, but it's a little bit, I find this one a little bit harsh. It's not super smooth, but it's still kind of neat, and I can see that this one could potentially become addictive. So I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just going to smell them both. Yeah, this one, dewy rose, very green. This one, jammy rose with more, almost more of the spice from the woods as opposed to the green. So I hope that makes sense. And that's it. Yeah, this perfume parlor version is definitely a viable option, and I will leave this one linked down below for you. These I think are really hard to find, but definitely I'll leave the perfume parlor version linked for you to check out. And other than that, that's it. I hope you have an amazing week. If you've tried both of these, what are your thoughts? Do you have a preference? Do you even like these? I would love to know. And yeah, that's it. So we'll talk to you soon.